Hello, my name is Ryan Magilli, and today I'll be discussing regulated hydraulic fracturing in my speech, Hydraulic Fracturing and Regulation. According to fractracker.org, a great percentage of oil/gas wells in this country use a controversial fossil fuel extraction method called hydraulic fracturing. Although this fact is probably not of concern to you, once you listen to my speech you'll understand why this is disturbing. But first, a little background info. According to the Geological Society of America, hydraulic fracturing is a method of extraction in which a well is drilled into a rock formation. From there, a mixture is inserted into the well, allowing the rock to crack, thereby releasing the fossil fuel within to be pumped to the surface. The process may sound harmless to you, but in reality it is a source of great harm to the natural environment. Reputable scientists and journalists have proved that fracking has contaminated groundwater sources, helped induce earthquakes, and waste precious resources. Because of this, it is imperative something be done at the state and federal level through, of course, the enacting of regulations to stop this from occurring. For if nothing is done, it will continue. I hope that through my speech, all of you here will understand why it is imperative for people in this country to voice their complaint to lawmakers and other government officials about the ways activities of corporations and other people negatively impact the environment. In the small town of Prague, Oklahoma, in 2011, something happened that had never happened before. A 5.6 magnitude earthquake struck. According to the CBS report, is fracking to blame for Oklahoma's earthquake, the seismic activity Oklahoma has been facing in the last several years can be linked to hydraulic fracturing. Other news articles and academic journals have also linked hydraulic fracturing and earthquakes in Oklahoma. And in this article, Industry-Made Earthquakes, Andrew Nikiforuk showed that the disposal wells of fracking operations are the perpetrator of some of Oklahoma's most recent quakes. These earthquakes are just some of the ways fracking negatively disturbs the environment. And because of this, it is imperative something be done at the federal level to stop this from occurring. Another way in which fracking negatively disturbs the environment is through groundwater well contamination. According to this academic journal article, The Effects of Shale Gas Exploration and Hydraulic Fracturing on the Quality of Water Resources in the United States, Vengosh, Warner, Jackson, and Dara of the Nicholas School of Environment showed that in an area of Pennsylvania with a high amount of fracking activity, numerous water wells have been contaminated with methane for fracking operations. And in the drought-stricken West, the states of Colorado, Wyoming, North Dakota, and Montana are losing 7 billion gallons of water every year for fracking consumption. 7 billion gallons of water every year, and many of the states are in drought zones. These negative results of fracking will continue to be produced if more extensive government regulation does not occur. In March of 2015, the Obama administration addressed the lack of government oversight on fracking by enacting federal regulation. In the New York Times article, new federal rules are set for fracking. Coral Davenport states that the first significant federal regulations on hydraulic fracturing were called out by the Obama administration in early 2015 after years of drafting. According to an administration official, they were developed in response to the surge in popularity of fracking and the controversy surrounding its impact on the environment. The regulations will require fracking operators to release info about the chemicals that they use in the extraction process and will send government officials to inspect fracking wells and the concrete barriers that help insulate them. Although these regulations were met with an annoyed response from fracking companies, they represent a necessary change in federal fracking regulation. One rule, though, that has not been set at the federal or state level in many instances is concerned with the way fracking operators dispose of the waste. As stated previously, fracking disposal wells are responsible for inducted earthquakes in Oklahoma and contaminated groundwater sources in Pennsylvania. Because of this danger they pose, far more strict rules should be set in place regarding fracking disposal processes. Maybe even a committee established at the federal level to oversee the ways in which fracking operators dispose of their waste. To halt fracking's damage and impact on the environment, more regulations obviously must be put in place. Many companies and people sigh at the talk of government regulation, but in reality, rules and laws exist to provide order and protect people from dangerous activities and actions. The only way to stop the abuse of the government, the abuse of the environment, and people by fracking operations is for the government setting up rules that limit fracking operations' ability to damage the environment. And the only way for these regulations to be enacted is for you, people, Americans, contacting your local lawmakers or government officials to address your concern about this. The only way a democracy can function effectively is if the people work for this system and voice their opinions and complaints about the ways in which this country is going. I hope that through my speech you understand the importance of doing that. Thank you.
Yeah.